Well, the players did. I mean, that's the short answer. But just the resiliency. I mean, if you get caught up in the scoreboard, you start making judgments, you start making assessment about how things are going. Things aren't going well, but things aren't going well when you don't make plays. Things don't have a tendency to not go well when you don't have 11 guys. Executing at an elite level, and so the hole you dig is the one that you got the shovel in hand, and we did our part in digging it. Obviously, give them credit. In an atmosphere like that versus a very good football team, you got to weather the storm early, and certainly you couldn't make the claim that we did that. And so we got to do a better job as coaches to make sure that we're prepared for those moments. But still some head scratchers early that. We got to get past the boarding of coverage to go hit the quarterback, calling the pressure and the man that's blitzing doesn't blitz, and overrunning a pulling guard when you could be an unblocked guy, just all those things that make it very, very difficult to play good sound defense, and so we got to continue to analyze that. Can continue to kind of really add some stress to this football program, in the early parts of these games to play that way, and so we got to be better.
Sorry, Alex. When did it change for you? When did you start seeing the plays, execution that you were calling, and guys doing the right thing?
Sure, I thought probably and it doesn't feel that way because the scoreboard's such, but kind of towards the middle of the second quarter. Maybe just from an execution standpoint, that doesn't mean everything's going to go roses. I mean, they have the ability to out-execute you on given downs, but just a little bit more of a maybe feet underneath us type of look about what we're doing. I thought just going into halftime, I did not think confidence was low in a lot of ways, and what you try so hard to do is kind of preload these guys for situations that you might expect. I mean, obviously that's the extreme of the extreme. You've got situations where you're not getting your job done defensively. It's coupled by having to take the field after sudden change opportunities, some of which are in short yardage, areas, and so some of that stuff you prepare for, other stuff you just got to react to in the moment, and so by and large early on we did not do that. But that was your question. I thought certainly kind of towards the tail end of that second quarter, and I just thought there was a group at halftime willing to say that. If we go out there and execute, we'll give ourselves a shot. We'll give ourselves a shot. And what's it going to take? And our kind of our mantra this week, the entire time, was 3-and-out takeaway, regardless of what the scoreboard is. And that never goes away. And maybe it's a simplistic message, and maybe a message that we should have delivered earlier on as we've gone through this thing. And not that messages are everything, but we do believe in it. Is regardless of what the scoreboard is, that the defense has to get off the field. I mean, it doesn't matter. A week ago we're in a situation where we're up with a significant lead, and regardless of what that situation is, 35-14, we have to get off the field. We can't have a slow second half. It's the requirement in this sport for the defense to do just that, and there's only two ways to do it. And at some point when we talk about 3-and-outs, our thing was anytime there's a first down, it's not just at the beginning of a possession. And so that was something that I heard a lot on the sideline. I think guys bought into that, and there's a reality to that, and you never know if you're going to get the results. But very pleased with what we did in the second half.
Alex, you've said since January, takeaways equal victories. I mean, that was literally true tonight. It feels like. Between the interception at the end and the fumble, the recovery at the beginning of the second half. What did that fumble at the beginning of the second half do for you guys? Was that just a big relief to finally get one?
I think you'd have to pull every player, but I'll speak for him and say it absolutely was. It was a big relief for me. Yeah. We say takeaways again because you're not hoping the ball just bounces your way. I mean, hope isn't a strategy, and we're not going to. We'll take those too, believe me. But I thought just from because what takeaways are as much as anything, obviously they create possessions, and we got a pretty good offense here. And so if we can get one more possession, two more possessions, imagine if we got three more possessions to that offense every week. What we could be as a football program, and the other thing too is it puts a massive amount of stress on you as a defense if you're not getting takeaways, that means every single drive is completed in some way, shape, or form that includes either a third down or a score for the offense. A third down stop or a score. I mean, to do that over the course of an entire football game and never have an opportunity, I shouldn't say opportunity, you have the opportunities on every single down, but to not find a way to get off the field, it's extremely hard to play good defense and not get takeaways. In any way, shape, or form. And then the final thing I would tell you on that is a long answer, but it's a big deal now, is the momentum. If you want to curb the momentum of an opponent, there's only certain ways you can get that thing done. Obviously, score on offense and defensively, obviously get off the field. But man, from a momentum standpoint, if you're not creating takeaways, I believe it was 4 straight weeks, and I tried to stop counting, but you have no momentum plays, literally no momentum plays to stop your opponent and put yourself in a situation that you can help your offense out. And so that's something that we know has to change. Hopefully tonight is part of that change. But in any event, no, I could talk about takeaways for the rest of the night.
Alex, the drives that you guys really needed to get stops on, the third down that led to the game tying points. And then, there was the one that you got the takeaway on at the end of the game. What were the commonalities on those? It seemed like the season, in some ways, the game was on the line. Did you see any commonalities on the way you guys played on those series?
The thing I saw, Ronnie Perkins in particular in our front, just a relentless effort that really changed, in my opinion. I highlight our front across the board, but I think that as much as anything kind of changed it changed the feel of things in the backfield for an offense, whether it's in the run game or at the end there in the pass game. It puts making a throw under duress. And then the other thing too is not having the get out of jail free card in terms of the ability to scramble. If you constantly have that get out of jail free card, it can be a comfortable pocket for a quarterback. And so eliminating those things, I think that was probably the biggest thing that we saw. Attack the boundary there at the tail end of things, and obviously Nick Benito came up with a good, obviously a big play. But no, I mentioned the front was probably the biggest thing at that point.
Lincoln said, Alex, that Ronnie was personally challenged, and I couldn't get whether he challenged him or you challenged him. Were you in on some of that?
I didn't. I challenged all the guys, but not specific to Ronnie.
About being a big-time player, this is your moment kind of thing, and he came through with 3 sacks.
Well, and he did, and I think there was a couple more that he had a major impact on the play that didn't come in a sack, and it got to that point where you're just sitting there saying, okay, Seven's going to make a play. You just felt it, and might highlight him, a week ago in a very, obviously a poor finish on our part, kind of till the end in a football game where we had a chance to play some good defense and we did not get that done. But I highlight him last week. You saw that guy, and you saw him again tonight, and so very pleased with him.
Alex, just as a coach and a teacher, what you've been through the last 3 weeks trying to get this out of these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know, how satisfying is that you come in on the biggest stage, tonight and do something better than you've done all year, really.
Right, and I think sometimes too, like when obviously you want everything to be real easy, and you want every message that you deliver to be landed and done so without the adversity on Saturdays, and unfortunately it by and large that's not the case, and for this to be our group, to be our defense as a coaching staff. Sometimes you got to go in it. I mean, you got to be in it together, and some of those messages don't seem so real when in games that are decided maybe earlier as opposed to let's talk about takeaways equal victory, and they shake their head at you. Got you, coach. We won a lot of football games around here. But then all of a sudden you see the impact. A few weeks ago where they got takeaways, we didn't, and we lost a football game. Then all of a sudden the antennas go up a little bit, and then finish the game last week with a takeaway in the goal line area on a 2-point play. Yeah, guys, it does. Takeaways equal victory, and then again. So some of that stuff, and again, I'd give anything to get the high end results that are expected at Oklahoma. Right away, but this is part of our story, and then we told them at halftime, that it'll be a hell of a story. We come back, win this football game, and so this is part of it. We'll use it to our advantage. We got 4 starters out with ACL injuries. and they may not be household names, and so it's whether it's reported on or not, I don't know. But in any event, that's a credit to some of these guys stepping up, and so we're constantly working through, from a depth standpoint, and constantly getting these guys to. So we got a lot of work obviously to do, and but we got a group of guys that show some battle tonight, and that gives you a shot.
Benito dropped the second down interception and comes right back and picks up on the next play on probably a harder play. Is that a hard thing to do, to recover that quickly from something like that?
I really do give him a lot of credit, because you're absolutely right. It's maybe a little bit different for a wide receiver to be in that situation, but for a rush linebacker that, in that particular instance, we're dropping in coverage. They don't have timeout, so they're going to work boundaries. And so you're kind of trying to mix, some of the looks there into the boundary. That one on second down put him in a position kind of as a hash dropper for us, and maybe caught the quarterback a little bit by surprise to see him back there and put him in a situation to make the play. And you got to expect it. But then to come back the next play and he's dropping out to the flat and to make it, I give him a lot of credit. And obviously he made a big play last week that Piedmont came up with in the at the tail end of the game. And he's another young player for us as a redshirt freshman that when John Michael went out, his role changed. So this making a couple plays the last couple weeks got to be a springboard for him.
Alex, the offense helped you, it seemed like, in the second half. When you went out for the last possession, you'd only face 10 plays the whole half. How much does that help when the offense is chewing the clock and you don't have to go out there and defend them 7-8 times?
Well, it does. Complementary football, that's not unique to Oklahoma, our defense, this program, anything else. Complementary football certainly helps everybody. I think when we're getting 3 and outs, it helps the offense. I think when they're marching down the field, it certainly helps the defense. But I certainly wouldn't complain. When the drives end with 7 on our offense, especially in a game that like tonight. I think that's the number one priority for those guys that get you excited on the defensive side of the ball. But no, believe me, we'll take every opportunity to go on the field only a certain amount of time. But you still, once again, to my previous point, you got to find a way to get 3 and out. You got to find a way to get takeaway. You got to find a way to get off the field. It looks a whole lot different if they march down the field and then the opposing team marches down the field. So you still got to find a way to get stops.
Alex, in the first half, Brewer killed you guys. In the second half, you guys shut him down. Or you at least held it. Any kind of adjustment, or just how did you guys turn the tables?
No, I think obviously it's always a combination of things. You're making sure that it's tough when a quarterback is finding escape lanes. Rushing past the quarterback obviously was an issue for us in the first half, and then when he's got an escape hatch to do those things, and then he's directing the ball downfield and finding success that way. Obviously, his confidence level goes through the roof, and so no, give him credit. I think he's a really good player. We knew we from their skill standpoint, we talked all of us talked on Monday about it in terms of the elite skill that Baylor has with a quarterback that can direct those things. So that some of that obviously was to be expected, and it can't obviously look like the scoreboard did there in the second quarter. Though we got to find a way to. It's one thing to make a play, then we got to make 2 of our own to negate that. And so, but no, a very good player, very good offense, and a real good program.
Alex, after the Texas game, we talked a lot about motivation and your ability to motivate guys. Over the last few games, were you ever afraid that you were starting to lose them in any way, or lose that grip on them? And do you feel like you got it back tonight?
No, I think these kids have been through a lot. I think maybe sometimes I discount what we took over. Maybe there's some ghosts in there that we got to make sure that we're have an understanding of as a defensive coaching staff that we're working through. It's been some highs, real highs in the past, and some real lows in the past, and so we inherit a group with, like I said, some scars, some ghosts maybe that I wasn't fully maybe appreciative of. So maybe I learned more in the last couple of weeks than even they learned. But I think as you go through it, the message was this: we got to be better as coaches. We got to put you in a better situation to be successful. We got to have a better week of practice. And so I think from a motivation standpoint, I think that did it take this to do that? No, I thought if you would have saw our week of practice, one of the best weeks of practice I've ever been a part of in my time as a coach, and it was. And it's coming off a game where you didn't play your best football. For the last couple of weeks, we have not played a high level of football. And then we're flying around in the indoor on Tuesday like you wouldn't believe. Now, that's got to, again, nobody cares what we did on Tuesday. I'm very, very understanding of that. But what that speaks to, I guess, to your point, is that I think we have a group of guys believing the things that we're preaching. And we'll continue to get better results on Saturdays as we continue to work through this.